Sepang, Day 1. Part of our planet is literally dying. I trained today with a South African doctor named Johan, and the clinic was packed. 100 people waiting in the hallway at 8 a.m., all waiting for treatment, no appointments, show up, and it's first come, first served. It was winter time, it's cold at the clinic, and sometimes there was no electricity. Most we saw were in their late 20s. Of the 35 Johan and I saw, 10 were well, 5 had untreated active tuberculosis, 15 had end-stage AIDS, 6 had pneumonia. 1 woman died of pneumonia as she was being wheeled from our office to be admitted to hospital. She was 22. And I will never forget the look of horror on her face as she struggled to take her last breath. I struggled for 4 months when I returned from Africa, a little bit of post-traumatic stress disorder. I was fine when I was there, put my doctor hat on, did my thing, came back and just plummeted emotionally for about 4 months. And then I hit the ground running. Boy, you have 2 choices when you see stuff like this. You can either do nothing and bury it and go back to your affluent life, or you can get really mad and do something about it. Our interpreter's name is Matabisang. At one point, she looked at me earnestly and said, "The Basotho are dying. My country is dying." July 6, 2006. Not a great day. My energy and mood are low. There is not much here to elevate your mood on a down day, and I would definitely not recommend Basotho to anyone with a mood disorder. The first patient of the day was a 33-year-old man who sat in the waiting room for 10 minutes in a wheelchair, until one of the triage nurses recognized how gravely ill he was. That's the job of the triage nurse. The first job of the day is to go up and down this hallway of 100 people and pull out the patients who look like they're about to die. It's not good for morale if they die in the waiting room. And so they would pull these patients into an exam room and comfort them. And when they got close to death, this stunning Canadian team would gather around the bed and comfort them, caress their hair, pray with them, and wait till they died. The whole clinic would stop so we could help someone die, and they were often alone. He made it to the door and onto the bed, carried by 2 of his relatives, and then promptly died. Tuberculosis treatment was started the day before, followed by an urgent referral to Sepang to assess his HIV, and then in the exam room, he died. After his body was removed, I cleaned the rubber mattress he was on with baby wipes that I had brought from Canada. The scent of the wipes immediately stimulated an old memory of my newborn babies. The contrast between where I was physically and what I was doing in that moment, where my brain led me, made me feel profoundly sad. There is very little innocence and sweetness left in this place. As the day went on, I began to take notes on the details of these patients' lives. 1 page of handwriting says it all: their name, their sex, mostly female, how close to death they were before treatment was started, their marital status, usually widowed, the men have died first, the number of children they have, which is totally different from the number of children they bore, because all of them had already lost children. Today, not one of these women were over 30. Sepang and many other clinics like it across Africa is trying to save an entire generation of women and children, and most of us know nothing about it. Tabela Motetsi, 26 years old and here with her mother. She has such a beautiful face with soft features and haunting eyes. I saw so many supermodels in Africa. Beautiful, beautiful people. I cannot make her smile. For the life of me, I tried, but I could not make her smile. I asked Matabisang to ask her if she was depressed, but Tabela would not answer. She stopped taking her medication 3 months ago and has not been seen at Sepang for 6 months. She missed her last appointment and was too afraid to return, ashamed that she had not followed the rules and would face the reprimand of the native counselors. These people understand the significance of missed appointments and missed pills, and they're bent on encouraging strict compliance. Matabisang reassures me that she's not depressed, she's just ashamed. Late that day while I was walking in the market, beautiful, colorful market filled with people. I was shopping and I caught a glimpse of her, just a quick glimpse of her beautiful face walking through the crowd. Hauntingly beautiful, unmistakable among the other sea of faces. She still looked sad. 26 years old, a woman in Lesotho, Africa, with HIV, her life expectancy less than 37. She has every right to be sad. Children's Day, Tuesdays, and the hardest day for all of us. Today the hallway is full of mothers and infants. My overwhelming thought as I maneuver my way to the exam room after praise and worship is that this is unmanageable. This is just not possible. There's no way that 4 prescribers can see this many critically ill children in one day in a small third-world clinic with no access to modern medical technology. It just cannot be done, and yet it is done. It's being done by Canadians, and we are a compassionate, persistent lot. Today I need to pay tribute to the children and their grandmothers. On any given day, you will see these frail, elderly women carrying their ill children on their backs all over Erie Bay and in great numbers at the clinic. These women have lost their husbands, their children, and now they are caring for their HIV-positive grandchildren. One grandmother today finds the whole thing overwhelming. Her 10-year-old granddaughter never left her side and was obviously ill. Etkasang has HIV, tuberculosis, and a killer pneumonia. She's been prescribed a complicated regimen of tuberculosis meds and HIV meds, and the grandmother is ill-equipped to provide her with the medication on time. When she realized today that her granddaughter was gravely ill because of missed meds, she started to sob. When Etkasang saw her grandmother cry, she too burst into tears. Elizabeth, the nurse practitioner that was sitting beside me, we were working side by side at that time, she saw this moment and she leapt to her feet, lifted this 10-year-old off the ground and embraced her. They both cried. So here I am now in the room with 3 people crying. Someone's got to stay focused, and I kept writing notes. But I was fully conscious of the most compassionate moment I've ever seen. It was as if Elizabeth's love just might stop this little girl from dying, if she just held on long enough and tight enough. Tabo is 2 years old. Latiso is 6 years old. Setko is 9 years old. Napanong is 10 months old. Nachabello, age 3. Pumateo, age 10. Sabetso, age 6. And near the end of the day, Letha Kamoka, 9 years old, a child I will never forget, the sickest child I have ever seen. He weighs just 15 kilograms and was diagnosed with HIV in April and admitted with tuberculosis in May. He is here with his terrified mother, and while he sits on her lap, he holds his head in agony. He is in agony. He is dying of cryptococcal meningitis. It is the most painful meningitis to die from. He's breathing at a rate of 60 per minute. His belly is bulging with fluid from his failing heart, the muscles in between his ribs indrawing, fighting to breathe against his sick, now rigid with infection lungs. We threw everything at him. We gave him medication for his pneumonia. We gave him medication for his HIV. We gave him Tylenol for his headache, and then we sent him home. He won't survive. He won't survive. Near the end of the day, I was in the exam room treating another HIV-positive, TB-infected 9-year-old, and from outside in the hallway came the sound of a squeaky toy, the only toy the kids have. So what they did was they passed it from one kid to the next all day long, so every child had a chance to play with it. This is in our world. How many toys do our children have? And these 100 children are playing with one. That squeaky noise was just a reminder of the 20 more HIV-positive children waiting to be seen. Today we will see 71 in total. These are the names and faces of the orphans of Africa.